A super fantastic grand rising. Welcome to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown here joining you. Coming up on today's show, a guest menu looks like this. It will be Coach Kevin Johnson, head men's basketball coach at Southern University, who will wrap up the 2025-2026 basketball season. Also, joining us will be the panel, and they'll be coming up shortly. Here's what's trending on the Coles Brown Show. Lady Jaguars continue post-season success. Also, first four success for HBCUs and March Madness. March Madness, indeed. Now, we'll be joined by the panel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
All right.
afternoon, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning, Coach Pettaway. Good afternoon, A.D. Willa Brown and Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network. Of course, a lot of basketball to talk. Special guest, Coach Kevin Johnson. Squeeze in some swag baseball. I must say, swag baseball has been shocking to me so far in the early couple of series in conference play. But let's start it off with the Lady Jaguars. The last time that we talked, Southern women, Southern men were looking to become tournament champions, 2026 tournament champions. Well, the Lady Jaguars, they got it done. They defeated Alabama State for the men. They fell short to Prairie View A&M, and Prairie View A&M participated in the first four. They get that done against Lee High. And then last night they ran up against the number one seed, one of four number one seeds. Coach Pettaway, I'm not sure if they were the overall number one seed, defending champions, and it was brutal, to say the least. I felt really bad, but Prairie View gets a SWAC tournament championship, an 8 seed. They win their first four game, and we've seen some success. Also, Howard University had some success in their first four. So when you look at it, based on me from the outside looking in, I would consider that a success. Like the Lady Jaguars, they beat Sanford. So that's back-to-back first four wins. And Charles, we were kind of exchanging opinions during the week. I really, for Southern University, of course, they go up against South Carolina today. It's going to be tough. But looking at what those teams that I've mentioned have done and what Southern University has done, I got the contract extensions and all the bonuses ready, like I'm the AD for 2 years in a row. Think about it. That's success. And that's what I would judge ultimately. Winning an NCAA championship, a lot of that's put in the contracts. But let's be realistic, Coach Pettaway, Wheeler, and Charles. I think what Southern ladies have done, you can't do anything but reward them. And I found out this week that last year he got rewarded, both coaches. So I like where things are going, trending.
Yeah.
We don't call it the Carlos Brown contract unless it's 2 years, I guess. but what are your thoughts on what has happened? Our success with HBCUs in the first four, Southern University, Coach Funches, and what they have done. Alcorn participating in the WNIT at 3 p.m. hosting today. Is that what we should base? Or some of the factors based when we look at what is determined success?
Yes. All the way around. I mean, first of all, congratulations to Southern University. Congratulations to the Jags. Congratulations to Coach Funches in winning the tournament. And, Brian Fulford mentioned this the other day. Coach Funches is one of only a handful of coaches that has not only a couple, but 3 tournament wins. Tamika Reed, Shirley Walker, who's a longtime coach here, and then Sandy Pugh. So Coach Funches is in a very elite class in terms of tournament success. They turn it up, they get it done in the postseason. And they got another one against South Carolina. That's going to be tough, but still, what he's done is outstanding. Whatever contract should come his way, he should get that. He's very deserving of it. The same thing for Kevin Johnson. Whatever he gets, he's deserving of that as well. As far as postseason success, look, I mean, we're winning the first 4 games, and I'm changing my tune on this show officially. I'm old school, guys. I remember when we were a 15 seed and we played Stanford, and I was reminded the other day that, well, what's the difference between the playing the first 4 and the 15 seed? You're still getting one of the top 8 teams in the country. Yeah, you are, and that's still going to be tough. So the level of success that we've had, I like where we are. And from a financial standpoint, and Wheeler would appreciate this from a financial standpoint, the amount of units that we're getting, the amount that the conference is getting, that trickles down to all of our schools. We're going to get paid from this for years to come. That's a good thing in terms of the financial piece of it all. So we should be happy with that. And that's where I am on it now, because we're going to get paid. We're talking about money or lack thereof. So that helps as well. So I'm happy where we are. Yeah, I can be greedy. I want to beat one of the best teams in the country, whoever we play, Florida or whomever. But I understand the dynamics and the challenges. So job well done, HBCUs. We're still playing. We're still going. And even here, WNIT. First time in 2005 that the Lady Braves are in the postseason. And, we were in the NCAA tournament in the past. We played in the Minnesota Regional. We played in the Notre Dame Regional. We played in the La Tech Regional. But I'm glad we got a home game. And so we're continuing to dance here. So I'm happy with where we are in terms of SWAC basketball, men and women. And, hey, let's keep it going.
Right, I agree with you, Charles. I think they've done a great job. The coaches in the SWAC have done an outstanding job. The coaches in the MEAC, because another thing that we're not mentioning, I think it's Maryland Eastern Shores women. I think they won a game the other day, and so I think basketball we're proving that on the HBC level that we can win games, especially when we go up against people that have similar budgets. I think that's the big key. We're not gonna consistently beat the Power Fours because they spend more on their program than we spend on our entire athletic department. But in terms of matchups and stuff like that, there will be times where we can beat teams who have similar budgets on the FCS level in football, that kind of stuff. I think we can compete with those, and I'm proud of what the coaches in the SWAC have done over the years, and in particular this year.
And I think all of our HBCU coaches have done a masterful job. There's no doubt about that at all. And they should be rewarded and celebrated accordingly. Yeah, I mean, we've proven time and time again that, when the scales are as balanced as they can get, we can do more than hold our own. And that's a plus. Don't relegate us to second class status, that sort of thing, simply because we're HBCU. The ball is still round, it still goes in the hole the same way. It bounces off the backboard the same way, that sort of thing. We prepare our kids as well as they do at the PWIs. So, naturally, when we get to the upper echelon of things, cream always rise to the top. That's just how it is. But we need to celebrate the wins that we do get and reward our coaches accordingly because they've done a great job.
I like that piece, reward for those who can reward. And boy, we always have fun about extensions and contracts. It's going to be interesting. Those who can reward, because some of our programs, some are better in a better shape than others. And that's something you can't escape from. But a job well done. Because you remember a few years ago we were talking about baseball having that same opportunity to do some good work in postseason. But the postseason success, where Alabama A&M, and by the way, Coach Pettaway, Chuck had a question of how Alabama A&M, how they didn't go to the WNIT instead of the WBIT, and they took it on the chin against BYU. But I think the WNIT, didn't it change the rules on how they pick?
Well, I can speak
Right.
on
Well, see, the WB. Go ahead, Charles, do it, because I got a bad signal. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, the WBIT, and that's a good question because I was thinking the same thing. The WBIT is a fairly new tournament, and their qualifications are the team that won the regular season that did not win the tournament. They get a bid to WBIT, and so that's Alabama A&M's choice. Now, from what Kilbert was saying yesterday, they could have chosen to go to the NIT, but I think based on the letter of the rule from the BIT, that if you're the regular season champ and you don't win your tournament, you get an opportunity to be in that tournament. So I guess A&M took that as it was, took that bid to the BIT, and us being the second seed. And that's the other thing. If you're the second seed in the regular season, you get an opportunity to be in the WNIT. So I was wondering BIT, NIT. So now we know that why we got the WNIT.
But before there was a BIT,
Charles, the most important part is
NIT
it's sanctioned by the NC2A.
Correct.
It's sanctioned by the NC2A. That's the big thing.
Right.
Okay.
Wait a minute. The WNIT?
WBIT is a part of the NC2A.
So what is the WNIT?
That was the. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, from my understanding, the WNIT is, it was kind of downgraded a little bit,
right?
And so I think it's more. There's a little bit more teeth, even though the WNIT is the more prestigious tournament. It's been around longer. I think this tournament's getting more teams in there, and I think it's sanctioned by the NCAA, the WBIT.
So the WNIT is not sanctioned. That's what I'm trying to find out.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Also.
See, because I know of the WNIT.
Yeah.
And they, correct me if I'm wrong, I may be wrong, but they would take the team that didn't win the tournament.
Yes. The regular season champ.
Right, and then
the tournament.
Right, and then the NC2A created the WBIT.
To do the same
and
thing,
then,
pretty much, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess I'm thinking that, and maybe I shouldn't think this way, the WNIT is more prestigious, if I could say it that way.
No.
It's not.
I would say it used to be, but probably
correct
now.
Right, because the like I said, the WBIT is now sanctioned and supported by the NC2A.
So here it is, guys.
Why do we need the NIT? Then why they can't just combine themselves if that's the case?
Well, you're giving more teams opportunities
to play, which makes sense
for postseason play.
Mm-hmm.
See, the men have always had it. Remember, we used to have the CIT, and then we had the other one. Well, those teams, those tournaments are falling by the wayside. So all you have left is the NIT for the men. And then remember, 3 years ago, they went away from taking your conference champion. On the men's side. Okay. If your men's team stumble during the tournament, you got an automatic bid to the NIT. That's no longer there.
Wow. Just wow.
Here it is, guys. Unlike the NIT, the women's tournament is not run by the NCAA, but an independent tournament. Triple Crown Sports, a company based in Fort Collins, Triple Crown Sports on a lot of stuff with this tournament. Triple Crown Sports, based in Fort Collins, Colorado, that specializes in promoting amateur sporting events, created the WNIT in 1994 as a preseason counterpart to then current National Women's Invitational Tournament. So to your point, the WBIT is sanctioned by the NCAA. The WNIT is an independent entity.
Okay.
So it's not supported then. But see, I guess some of the stuff on the internet is not right, because I I read somewhere where it was being supported by the NC2A. So maybe that's some of that fake stuff that's out there.
And so Alabama and them decided to go with the WBIT
BIT.
Correct.
because it's NCAA sanctioned. So now I will put the WBIT, I would rank them ahead of the WNIT
Yeah.
because it's sanctioned. Okay. But still the goal is to win that tournament championship and get to the
Oh, yeah.
NCAA
Oh, yeah.
so you can have
Correct.
those units of money, which if it's kind of like how football was in Celebration Bowl, and I guess I'm digging in a can of worms. I know the units have to be shared with the conference, but I wonder if it's the participant gets a little bit
The
more of a
participant does
share.
get the lion's
Yeah.
share. When you
Okay.
talk
Right,
about
yeah, yeah.
100%, normally the participant gets about 75. Normally the conference gets about 10,
Mhm.
and the member schools gets about 15. So it's kind of like divided in that
Mhm.
particular range, give or take a percentage point or two. But your
Right.
participating team is always going to get the lion's share.
Mhm.
And before, it was only like with football, it was only divided amongst the teams that actually played football. So your Coppin States and your Maryland Eastern Shores, they didn't get a piece of it early on.
Mhm.
Now I would think that they probably do because of how things have evolved, that sort of thing, that all of the schools probably get a piece of the Celebration Bowl now. But in the beginning, it was just relegated to the football playing schools. If you didn't play football, you didn't uh, get the windfall from a football revenue generated entity.
Also, points were brought up over a period of time. Charles, you remember the first four? Some of the coaches and earlier you said now you're kind of changing, evolving on that. They like because somebody in the chat room basically said they would rather always be in that final four because, correct me if I'm wrong, that's more of a financial gain that they participate in. But if that's the case though, just my personal philosophy, I still like um as a conference, and we won't bring this up a whole lot anymore, but because we've had a lot of discussions on it, because on social media, some people are wondering why that our conference is always a 16th seed, 15th seed, and a 14th seed. On special occasions, they've gotten higher seeds like Howard, women, 14th seed,
Yeah.
Southern and Jackson State. Uh, but it all still boils down to me, in my personal opinion. I would rather be that my goal would be to get that 13, 12, 14 seed because McNeese was I believe on the men's side, 15 seed. Yeah, you get that little extra money, but guess what? It's not going to really be a chance where it's so much of a financial gain, but about time it goes into your conference, pays for this, pays for that. It helps keep the athletic department.
But I think the good part about the first four, Carlos, is that 9 times out of 10, you're playing somebody that's on your level in that first round. So it's not
Yep.
like you're a 16th seed and you're playing the number one team
Mhm.
right away, that sort of thing. When you're in that first four, if you're a 15th seed, you playing another school that would have been a 15th seed. You're all just fighting for the 15th seed. So you're playing somebody 9 times out of 10 that's on your level,
Mhm.
financially and otherwise, which give you a better chance to win that first game. Which on top of that gets you another share, in terms of the revenue. So it's nothing but pluses all the way around playing in that first four. So if I'm a coach, I got an opportunity to get a win playing in that first four. If I'm an administrator, we got an opportunity to get a share, by winning, playing and winning in the first four. So it's a win-win on top of that all the way around. So unless we're in line to get a 10th seed or 11th seed, that's the only time that you're going to get a fair chance to play upper level quote unquote basketball. If you're a top 10 seed, where you're playing other teams, on that level ultimately, then you got a better shot. But as long as you're like 12th seed and below, and you're going to be running up against ones and twos and things of that nature, you're going to get, an upset every now and then, but you're going to get more of the same in terms of what Prairie View got the other night.
Prairie View gets 2 units because they play 2 games.
Because they played 2
Right.
games, which
And
is a plus.
Tennessee State got 1 unit because they played 1 game.
Yeah.
Right. And so you look at Howard, they got 2 units because they played 2 games.
Exactly.
Shame on y'all. Because shouldn't the goal be 2? And we've seen it happen. Shouldn't the goal be to be that 14th seed, 15th overall? Shouldn't that be the goal from a competitive standpoint? Or do you, and I don't want to say use the term tank it, but
13.
yeah, something like this.
To be a 13 seed, guys, it
can be done is what I'm arguing.
Be done, but it's going to require the conference coaches, ADs from top to bottom to line their schedules up. Those quad 2, the commissioner was on the committee and he talked about it. There's a pathway forward to at least put yourself in the best position possible. The question is,
they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
I don't think. I don't want to speak for ADs. I don't want to speak for the budget directors, but I just don't think that we're aligned to quite do that. And so I just believe, based on the coaches, even former coach Landon Bussey talked about it, and he talked to other coaches then, and I think it hasn't changed. They would rather get that first 4 game because you win that's 1 unit you get. Then you're going to play the top team and one of the top 4 teams in the country, but at least you got a second unit. But in order for us to get a 12 seed, and yes, 12 seeds have beaten 5s, 13s have beaten 4s, 14s have beaten 3s. Yes, it's possible, but collectively as a league, you're going to have to probably go 17-1 in conference. You're going to have to probably win 5 quad 2 games or somewhere thereabouts as a league. We're talking about probably 6 or 7 teams that have to do that. Probably not going to happen. And I hate to say that because I would love to see it happen. But the reality is I don't see it.
But Carlos, if you got 5, I'm going to just throw this as an example. If you got 5 teams that meet the criteria for a 12th seed, just putting that out there, but it's only 4 seeds for 12 seeds, okay, then you may have a situation where you got 2 12 seeds playing in the first 4. So it's not just relegated to 2 14 seeds or 2 15 seeds or 2 16 seeds. It could be any denomination, where they have an excess of teams that meet the criteria for that particular seeding. And then they place 2 of those teams in that first 4 to battle it out. Then you still, whatever seed you started out at, that doesn't change. So and then you're just going to be playing pretty much after that. So it's not just all 16 seeded teams playing in the first 4.
No, it's 4 11 seeds play. Yeah, in the first 4, and I still think it's still going to be some rigmarole, because I can't think of a better term, when they advance to 72.
As usual.
So again, I guess I look long term. It would be EA. Well, let's see what EA has to say. Okay, Carlos. Again, the playing game was designed for HBCUs. Now other schools are participating 12 Cs. What do you mean specifically for HBCUs? You think the NCAA? Let me be careful. Let me be careful. You think they love HBCUs that much that they would set aside? Mm.
I want to get away from the play-in nomination, whatever you want to call it. It ain't a play-in. You in the tournament.
Yep.
The
First
first
four.
four.
You're
First
the
four games of the tournament.
So
First
it ain't
four
it's
games of the
not a
tournament.
play-in type situation. And I would hope that somewhere down the line, people stop using those
Say
words
first four.
to
First four.
describe.
Yeah.
It's not play-in. You in.
Yeah, good
You
point.
just happen to be in the first group that's playing in the tournament. But you're in.
Good point. Because Dr. Cavill had to correct me
Well said.
on that. And guess what? You have to be open to, I said, you're right. Because he had told me that before, but you're so accustomed to saying
Yeah.
play in. But yeah, first four.
Yeah.
But again, I'm throwing all this out. I guess we need to talk to the ADs again. And that was my other point. Coach Banks came on and said, actually, he agreed with me, but that was a big but. Y'all remember? He came on the show, but we're not there yet as far as Southern University. I guess we can, off the record or on the record, kind of ask the ADs where they stand on this situation. Because ultimately, Charles, you said Dr. McClellan basically said this needs to happen to get away from that. But then it seems like from what you're saying, the coaches, they like being in the first four. There you go. First four. So something has to give. I mean, I'm just looking long term.
I think Dr. McClellan is just doing what he sees being over the committee for that period of time. He saw the window. But the commissioner reports to the ADs and the chancellors and the coaches.
Right.
He may throw a recommendation out there, but it's up to the membership to decide how they want to do it. And I think as of right now, I just don't think it's a whole lot of oxygen at this point in time. I think there's this mandate to some places. You got to bring in this amount of money and play these games. And so we're coming back to that old dead horse that's drawing maggots again. And so I don't have a problem with that. But I think where we are right now, I think the level of success, the level of comfort. And Carlos, I know me and you go way back in terms of just the way it was. But I think with the amount of money, the amount of units per win, the play-in, and all of that, I just think that right now there's a level of comfort in terms of what we're doing. I mean, Prairie View, an 8 seed, no one thought they would win the tournament. Not only did they win the tournament, Coach Smith got a contract extension, so that crew will be around at least another year, hopefully 2. I hope he gets a 2-year extension. 3, I think 3 is pushing it, but we'll see. We'll see what AD Golf and the administration does. But I think there's a level of comfort amongst our coaches, talking with our coach, and just is my opinion. I think there's a level of comfort there. So I think if we continue this, I think there will be a level of happiness amongst everybody.
I think prestigiously, you want that higher seed. It's a prestige type thing.
Apparently not.
From a conference point of view and otherwise, it shines your conference in a different light. If you can get up there in that 12 seed or what have you, that sort of thing. But in order to do that, there's certain requirements that's going to have to take place in order to be able to do that. And it's going to take all of the conference schools together in order to make that happen. And until that part becomes a reality, we're going to do what we've been doing all the while and keeping it moving from there.
Now, again, Charles, I see your reaction. We've talked about it
This is about something else, Carlos. I just got a text. If we win this game, we're playing on Monday. We got to get out of here. First things first, we got to take care of business. The discussion was we might be playing Tuesday, but I just got a text. We're playing Monday. So with all the airport stuff, team's going to be broken up. So
Mm.
that's a whole nother discussion. But anyway,
Well,
back.
well, yeah, that is interesting.
That is interesting. Yes, that's why I'm sighing. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious.
What's that song? They not like us.
Yeah.
I wonder if that situation would have been if it was, say, Sanford's men. Probably so, huh?
No,
Well,
no. NIT
I
is different. Had it been NC2A, you'd be on the charter flight.
Mm-hmm.
If it was NC2A, you on charter flights.
Mm-hmm.
NIT, they're gonna send you commercial.
Get there the best way you can.
Hindsight's always
But
2020.
I guess I'm thinking about Monday. That's what a turnaround. But anyway.
Well, hindsight's always 2020. So we decided to play this game today. There was some discussion about playing this game yesterday or even Thursday, knowing if we win, then we would be playing on Monday. That'll give us a little more lead time. But we thought it would be Tuesday, but I just got the text we're playing Monday. And so now all of a sudden, and the WNIT does handle the flights and the travel, but I was told by our travel agent that it's going to be hard to get our group together. We're going to be split up because there's just not many seats available right now. People are flying. It's $1,000 a ticket. Ticket's going to be about $1,000. Now, they're going to take care of it, and we got to pay for it. We got to pay for it, and they'll take care of some things. But it's going to be really interesting. We got to take care of business first. But if we do, it's going to be an interesting 48 hours.
Well, hopefully, because TSA not getting paid.
Yeah.
And, that's just a nightmare. But
Yeah.
thank God. You know what? I guess Dr. Cavill gets through it easily. Maybe I should speak for Dr. Cavill, but you know what? He must have some connections because I just looked at the line wrapped at New Orleans International Airport. Oh my God!
Yeah.
You would be better. Well,
they showed the lines at Houston at Hobby. 3 hours to get through and that kind of stuff. And when you're talking about a traveling party of 20 some people, that's more difficult than one person trying to navigate. But all this is, but see, these are good things that happen. These are things that, in light of the bad travel arrangement, that's showing a level of success. Though you wouldn't even have this issue if you weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
So that comes with the territory. And while I do have a good connection, Carlos, one of the things that I've heard people talk about was what the Southern Lady Jags, because they shoot free throws so poorly, should you have people on the line? Well, let me just say this. There have been times where I will put people on the line, but then you tend to get them in foul trouble. You have to know your personnel. Because, see, if they go after that ball, going after offensive rebound against a free throw, they already got you outnumbered. And most of the time, you'll pick up a cheap foul doing it that way.
Mm-hmm. And that was
coaches have to weigh that. They had to weigh that out, Carlos.
Yeah. I sent you that. It was a question from a Southernite. But you know what? Finally, they hit free throws when it counted.
Right. When they hit them against us.
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal said, I hit them when I need to.
Yeah.
Because he suffered with that,
right. Yeah, they won the tournament because they hit free throws. That's how Southern won the tournament. They hit free throws. Had they been hitting free throws like that all year, they probably would have won the regular season title. But when it counted, they put down the free throws.
Yes. And, I think I've heard people talk about it. It's sometimes they say it's more of a mental thing because, and I know as fans, we kind of get frustrated, but talking to some coaches, they take time out to shoot free throws. Players on their own do it.
Right.
I give the story in the company I used to work with. We had a company bowling tournament. I'm gonna try to tie this in. My team only needed 5 pins. 5 pins to advance. Guess what? Mr. Hotshot, the franchise, and I remember my coworker came up, no pressure, man. He's for the other team. you got it. I'm gonna congratulate you now. 5 pins, we out. I threw 2 gutter balls.
Oh,
I needed 5 pins, Charles.
Wow.
5 pins.
Wow.
See, I'm transparent. I'm just saying, it's easy to practice, shoot your free throws, but sometimes it's mental. What was the betting chances of me just turning around and throwing the ball, closing my eyes to knock down 5 pins, and I got 2 chances to get it?
yeah.
And I've had players say, I hit them in practice. I hit them. True story, Willa. True story.
Well, Carlos, you just struck a nerve right there when you talked about bowling. You know, I do bowl. One of the first fights I got into as a kid occurred from bowling. So I was the last week of the season. We were in the race to win the league, and man, I was nervous. I couldn't sleep the night before. I wanted to get this thing done, and I bowled like crap. There's a kid. There's a guy by the name of Thurlester. That's his name, Thurlester, a lefty. I was about 6'5". Thurlester.
That was a fight right there.
Yeah. Thurlester was about 4'9".
Wow.
And after we lost, you know, I was just so upset. I went in the bathroom and just tried to get myself together. He came in there, and I was in tears, and he was in tears. And he looked up at me and said, "Man, what happened to you out there?" And I said, "Man, I'm sorry. I just struggled." And man, we got into a doggone tussle in a doggone toilet. 6'5" versus 4'9". He's trying to hem me up, and I'm trying to hem him up. It got loud in there. My mother came in the bathroom. His mother came in there, and it was so you just struck a chord right there, Carlos. You talk about bowling. I screwed it up.
Right. You know, in school, sometimes you're in the bathroom, the lights go off. You know to hit the, get down low.
Yeah.
Punches are coming everywhere. But I tried to tie it in. Coach Pettaway.
Yes.
Doing your practices, I'm sure people practice free throws.
Right, but there's not enough time in practice
Mm-hmm.
for you to really get the job done. That's a personal thing that the kids have to get in. Yeah, we always set aside time in practice to shoot them, but that's not enough. And you have to let your players know that. Gentlemen, this 10 or 15 minutes we just put up for these free throws, that's not enough time. You got this is where the commitment comes in. You got to do that on your own.
Yeah.
You got to do that on your own in order to hone that craft. There's not a coach in America.
Come early, stay late.
Right. Or come in
on your
between
own,
classes.
because
Right. Because there's not enough time for a coach to set aside in practice for you to get that down. You shoot them, but to get the complete picture, you need to do it on your own.
And I wonder what, Coach Pettaway, I've had people to tell me, they've had players that can hit them in practice. But boy, when game time comes, that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes it's a mental issue. And all this to say, the Lady Jaguars hit their free throws. And to your point, 3 games against Alabama A&M, just 1-possession games. I mean, 1%. And the one that Alabama A&M.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
See, Carlos, there's no one out there that has perfected the art of free throw shooting. Because if it was, they'd be a billionaire. They would be a billionaire teaching those techniques. So it's an individual thing, and a lot of it is mental. A lot of it is mental. Once you get the mechanics down right, after that, it's mental, man, to put them free throws down.
How about pressure, though, Coach? How about pressure? Like Southern here, right on this floor, missed 18 free throws, got there 41 times. Is that mental or is it pressure?
Both. Combination.
Both.
Combination.
2 things can be true at once.
Yeah, combination.
Yeah. That's like I'm looking 73-56. Congratulations to the women Jaguars, Lady Jaguars. Now let me just scroll down and look and see. Okay, 49% from the field. They were hot. That's a little bit above average. Behind the arc, 7 of 13, 53%. Southern women, when they're hot, they're hot. When they're not, they're not. Not consistent 3-point. But from the free throw line, they were 18 to 25, 72%. And I hear all the prognosticators and the people on the broadcast say you got to at least hit 70 to 75% to do well. But again,
Well,
hit them when it counts.
Yep. That's the cutoff that people look at. That's the measuring stick. They say that if you shoot in the 70s, that's okay. But it, man, that thing's gonna vary, man. It depends on the game. It depends on the situation. All of that has to come into play when it comes to free throw shooting, man. And there's only been, I mean, I'm talking about on all levels now. People have problems shooting free throws. Even the professionals. You got guys up there that can't shoot free throws.
Yeah.
But in
We may have lost him.
WNBA, you got people that just cannot go to that line and put down free throws.
I knew one who did it, and it was unorthodox. Underhand.
Make sure it doesn't free throw shooting if you're poor at that.
Yeah. Mr. Barry?
Rick Barry, yeah.
Yeah, underhand. I was like a little kid. Man, what the heck is that? Underhand.
Yep.
And I actually tried it, and I was successful.
90-some%. Yep.
Look, yeah. But valid points about free throw shooting. Southern with a 12-point victory over Sanford in the first four. Wow. Just kind of my thoughts on the game. I was all clued in the office / man cave. And Southern, you could see the athleticism. They were much more athletic than Sanford. Southern's defense was outstanding. I'm talking about the Lady Jaguar. I mean, outstanding. Steals, pressure. But you think about it. Yeah, Rick Barry shot his free throws underhand. That's right. But if you think about it, I counted about 8 or 9 if I'm going to be nitpicking or constructive criticism. That game could have been over in the first half. For some reason, Southern missed about 8 or 9 just layups, close blank shots. But their defense was outstanding. Let's see what their free throws. They went to the free throw line 22 times. They made 14, 63.6. So what are your thoughts about that Southern game if you saw it against Sanford? I knew Southern was a better team, but athleticism, they chased them. Their perimeter defense was outstanding. And again, if Southern would have made some of those point-blank shots, wide open looks, they ended up winning by 12. It could have been longer than that. But then we talk about it. Runs are going to come in a basketball game. But for Southern University, they got it done.
I think Southern's defense and their physicality and their intensity, that's in my opinion, was their key to success during the regular season and conference. And I thought that just the talent versus Sanford's talent, I just felt like Southern was the better team in terms of just the talent. Now, I mean, you could go and lay an egg and have the better team talent-wise, but I felt like Southern would get back on the horn and get back to Southern basketball, and they did. And so, I mean, Southern got it done. Bottom line, glad to see them get it done. And I just, that was Southern basketball, low scoring. I kind of like that. And so I think Southern got back to their identity.
It looked like the same attitude that they had when they beat Alabama State in the SWAC championship game. Yeah, because they came out, with the sledgehammer on the fly type thing, and just pounded them and just went at them, that sort of thing. And it was the same thing. Just seemed like that transferred itself over to the Sanford game. So as long as they're having that collective attitude as a group, their chances of success multiplies tremendously.
And I sent Coach Funches and Coach Johnson a text message. Get the extension ready. What is it? 26, Coach Pettaway?
Yeah.
Can we lock him up to 2030?
Oh.
Or is that too far ahead?
Well, I think all the coaches that made it, they deserve an extension. escalators should already be in their contract. See, I think that's one of the things that's going to save Coach Smith at Prairie View. I think he already has an escalator that if you get 17
17 regular
wins, you automatically get another year. Those are called escalators that you put in the contracts.
Yeah. I think
That's the thing that they have to do when it comes to them
Well, the big
having
question,
those contracts done right.
yeah, but the big question is now. I think Charles brought it up. I don't know why Charles is always interested in the contracts.
Uh-oh.
I'm interested in contract, Carlos, and I'm day to day. I'm day to day, but here I am interested in all these different contracts. 3 years of Carlos Brown contract and Charles Edmond contract is day to day at will.
Well, the Brown contract is trending upwards.
Yeah.
It's not the low bar, it's not the high bar, but it's something you can work with.
Responsible.
Yeah, but you know what? The big question is winning that first 4 game. Does that mean? Dr. Cavill, what you think? Do it means extension? But I know it's some things that were going on behind the scenes. We do know
You probably got a bonus. I think it's more of a bonus.
Probably
like
had a bonus
in my
in
contract,
bonus
Carlos,
clause in his
I got a
contract.
bonus. I got a bonus for I got a bonus for winning the regular season championship. I got a bonus for winning the tournament championship. My bonus said if I go to postseason play, I get another bonus. Now, a lot of the ADs want that to equate to just the NC2A. But see, I would not do that. If my team is good enough to go to postseason play, I deserve a bonus. Now, postseason play, CIT, NIT, I don't care what kind of T it is. If my team playing in the postseason, bonus time.
But you know, boy, we got to get a timeout. See, I kind of involved because it was more of bonuses. But then some of the AD said, let's do the extension. In the perfect world, both would be nice, a bonus and an extension. Like I said, I just found out that Coach Fuentes got one for winning last year, at least, from the extension part. And you're right. I've seen the contracts. You get a bonus for this, a bonus for that, bonus for winning the tournament, winning the regular season championship, winning games in the NCAA.
And that's to make up for what I can't give you in salary. It's easier a lot of times for me to put those small escalators in there, in order to be able to pay you what I can't pay you outright.
But it's based on, of course, right? NCAA win, money coming from participation. Right?
And that was always the key. Like Coach Pettaway just mentioned, if he was going to a postseason tournament, that he wanted to get paid. Well, I was exactly the opposite. From an AD's point of view, it had to be NCAA sanctioned. Because a lot of those other tournaments like the CBI and some of those other ones where the institutions are paying to be involved, I feel like I'm paying you twice. Because I'm paying to be involved in the tournament. I'm paying expenses and all that sort of thing, for a lot of those tournaments that's not sanctioned by the NCAA.
But
the CIT paid your expenses now.
Yeah, they did, but there was some other tournaments, some other entities out there that provided.
Yeah, CBI, you paid to be in that.
Yeah, but there were some other entities out there that provided opportunities for postseason, that the schools themselves had to pretty much foot the bill, for the squads to get there.
Okay, so that brings up a good question then. In this climate, Wheeler, if you were in this climate today, considering what we're just seeing, you got the WNIT on the women's side, and then the WBIT. One is sanctioned by the NCAA, one is not. So, for example, if your coach was in the WNIT, would that coach get paid based on that, considering it's not necessarily sanctioned by the NCAA?
I would say yes, based off of the history of that particular tournament. And that's pretty much the reason why.
Okay.
Now moving forward, as it kind of distance itself from the past, then I have to take a long look at it. But right now I'm equating that to the NCAA involvement and all that sort of thing, the past history of the WNIT. So in my mindset right now, it's still a part of the NCAA nomenclature. But as time moves on, then I move on. Then we all move on.
Will EA said you're fiscally responsible.
So yeah, I said thanks.
I guess in the grand, I guess. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it would be in a perfect world, in just my opinion. See the conference at the conference level, be moderate. Remember we had this discussion. Balance with your non-conference games. Some people said, well, these games keep the HBC athletic departments afloat. Boy, that's a tough position to be in. It's like if you're a regular household, it's like, man, I got to do what I got to do. And I understand that. I'm getting this overtime, but once overtime is cut off, then I can't make it on my regular salary. That's a bad position to be in, but I guess I get it. But in the grand scheme of things, I would like as a conference that we shoot for, from a competitive standpoint, to get the best seed that you can get. And so you won't have to be relying on certain things. I'm just kind of uneasy about it. I'm reading things about the NCAA, like the SEC. We talked about it. They're getting ready to go. Well, somebody will say, well, what does that have to do with HBCUs? Well, some of us are still blessed to have 8, 9, 10, 11 of those guarantee games. Remember the question I put a month ago? Somebody said, don't worry about it till it happens. But what is the plan going forward?
Well, if you got a $15 million budget and I have a $5 million budget,
are you talking about Southern's budget, Will? Is that a shot?
I'm talking in general. I didn't say 18, Carlos. I said 15. And, but I'm going to have to do some things if I got the $5 million budget, in order to kind of try to catch up a little bit. So, whereas, one school may not have to play 8, 9 guarantee games. If my budget is in the pits, then I may be forced to do so in order to try to even the pot, so to speak, some. So I mean, until that part of the equation changes, then the whole thing is not going to be able to change.
Well, as it pertains to Southern University, remember Coach Banks came on and said, we're just not there yet. Even the teams with the higher budgets, most of them are still playing a good bit of those type of games.
That's true, because you got those high expenses.
So maybe in the next world that I'm in, it will be where you get 3 or 4 of them. And God bless him, Coach Pettaway, A&M's former, I'm having a middle-aged moment, Betty Austin. I remember she came on the show and talked about it. Man, Charles, you should remember. You were on there. She basically said, no, we're going to be balanced with that. We're not going to be playing 9, 10, 11, those type of games. And it got to an interesting conversation then. So even that was like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Even in 2026,
Right.
it's still something that being discussed.
And
And
that's
yeah,
okay. You just got to be prepared to make your
mhm,
cuts accordingly.
mhm.
You got to be prepared to live in your means. So a lot of things that some of the other schools are able to buy, are able to get, we might not be able to do so unless we take that approach that, we got to play, a lot of these games, that sort of thing. So if we're willing to do without, or willing to find other ways to get it done, then fine.
Not only does less guarantee money coming in hurt men's basketball, but it hurts. That's a part of the big athletic funding model. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're talking about getting $500,000
Spring
in
sports.
guarantee games as compared to 800,000, that's 300,000 less for the athletic department. Where are you gonna make that up?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Football's gonna be hurt by it.
Everybody's gonna be hurt.
Everybody's gonna be hurt by it. I mean, we brought in over $1 million in guarantees. And Jake Morton told me the other day there was one more game he could have got, but he chose not to because the schedule is just too brutal. He said we had Drake on. He was going to try to play Drake, but he decided, you know what, we're not going to do that because of travel and logistics. That's another $80,000 right there. So that would have been close to 1.1 mil that he was brought in. Now he put the schedule together. There was only one game on the schedule when he got it, and so.
So he's been the AD and the basketball coach. I get it. I get it.
There you go, Carlos. There you go, Carlos.
And then
there you go, Carlos.
Then
He understands the dynamics, Charles.
I won't understand it at no $1 million rate. I tell you that. Not me. Not Vann Pettaway. I'm not doing that. I go back to Coach Joe saying we prostituting these kids. That's Coach Joe. We prostitute these kids.
It probably got him an extra year on the contract.
My. But look, today's Saturday. I'm being a granddad. My grandsons wanted to know, when am I gonna see them? All my Saturdays have been taken up. So, fellas, I'm gonna have to respectfully bow out because I gotta be a granddad today just to get back in the house, Carlos.
I know that's right, Coach.
Hey, you don't have to explain to me, Coach. I get it. I understand. Well, we'll see you next week. Southern and South Carolina's behind me. Guess about to kick it off.
Yep, should be.
Boy. Coach Johnson coming up. We need to get a commercial break in. Boy, these topics always generate a lot of energy.
I love it.
In the next world, I hope we won't have to have these discussions. But I still want to get the ADs on record. I got Coach Banks on record. I'm going to be putting out a call. Get them on the record. Let's see where they stand, and then we'll move forward. We'll move forward. Have a great rest of your weekend, Coach Pettaway.
All right, man. You all take care. All right.
All right. We're going to take a timeout. Coach Johnson is in. Now, I'm not going to talk contracts with Coach Johnson and all of that. I privately said what I had to say to him. So we'll talk about the end of this 25-26 season going forward. And what I appreciate about Coach Johnson, he's transparent. Boy, he's transparent, and I love it. You're watching the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically Black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusive.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, joined by A.D. Willa Brown and Charles Edmond. We're going to bring in Coach Johnson, Kevin Johnson, head men's basketball coach at Southern University. Kind of talk with him about the season that was, looking ahead to the future. Coach Kevin Johnson, do we have him? Well, I guess I'll bring him up when we have him.
Well, Carlos, speaking of contracts, can I ask you a question? I think we text this. What is now here in Mississippi? It's a 4-year contract with state money. That's the most you can get as a coach. If you get paid through the foundation, it's whatever in whatever years, whatever money. In Louisiana or at Southern, what is the maximum contract that you can have in terms of years? Is there a max?
I'll have to look that up. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. But I just know that they take care of. They take care of their coaches at Southern University.
Okay.
And Coach Gilbert should be taken care of as well. What happens if he wins today against Southern Miss? Originally, I think you told me Southern Miss is getting some remodeling done or something.
South Alabama?
I'm sorry, South Alabama.
Yeah.
The Jaguars.
Yeah.
So if he wins that, does that count for anything?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was told that that there's a great possibility he'll be taken care of. I think that I've also heard that they're looking at something now. So I just think this is, and we talked about it on this show. A game like this, is this a part of the evaluation? I don't think it is. I think it's just the fact that you finished a 2 seed, disappointing loss in the tournament the last 3 years. You made it to the SWAC championship game the last 2 and a number 2 seed. So I think Coach Gilbert's in a good place, in a good space. I think it's just a matter of coming up with the devil in the details, the contract, the terms, because he looks good. He likes what he does. We're going to have some work to do in this offseason to rebuild what we got. But I think Coach Gilbert's in a good place, in a good space, and I do think there's a desire to take care of him and the coaches.
Well, he should be taken care of.
Oh, definitely. No doubt about that. And, need to look at the fact that, if Alcorn doesn't, then somebody else may very well do so. So you got to look at it from that point of view. Also, if you got a good coach, you got to do what it takes to try to hold on to him. No doubt.
Yeah. He's not looking to go anywhere. I mean, look, he was the head coach at Valley. He was the head coach at UAPB, and he has said this: "I am a program builder." And I just threw that phrase out there to him about 3 weeks ago, and he said, "Yeah, that's what I am, a program builder." So he has built this program. He built Valley. He built Pine Bluff a little bit. So I think this is what he is. But I think he's comfortable here, and I think people like him. He's very friendly. He's very funny. You know, he hates group texts. He hates the phrase "truck games." He hates that. He hates those two things. But he's a really good coach, and I think he will. I believe that he will be taken care of, and I don't think there's anything to worry about here.
And that's good, because previously we said a few of the director of athletics in the conference, they have basketball backgrounds, so I'm sure that can help. I'm trying to see. Coach Johnson says he's backstage. There we go. Whew, I was sweating there. I got to get Coach Johnson now. Coach Johnson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon on a beautiful Saturday. How y'all doing?
All right.
Doing well.
He said it beautiful. What, 85 today in Baton Rouge? Beautiful spring day. Oh, my goodness. And now we get a chance to talk with Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson, the season that was, reflections on Southern University, made it to the tournament championship, lost to Prairie View, previous year regular season champion. Just in my humble opinion, the men's basketball program is going it's trending upward in a good position. But your thoughts on the season now after it's over?
Well, to give you my thoughts on the season, I think I have to back it up to last year, right? After winning the regular season 15-3, right? We get upset in an overtime loss in the first round of the tournament, right? And then the portal goes nuts. Everybody wants to leave. Everybody wants that bag, right? And through that, we were able to, and this was important to me, I wanted to maintain a core, right? So we could move forward. We were able to maintain 7 seniors, right? And 4 of those guys had some options. They could have gotten money. They could have gone other places, different leagues. And some of the guys we had in the program did, but we maintained 7. So I knew that coming into this year, we would have a chance. We would have a chance to perhaps defend the regular season and then have a chance to, win the tournament. And as any season would have it, you can do all the planning that you want, but you can't plan for the injuries and the things that happen to this squad. And so we returned 7 seniors, but every single one of those guys missed significant games through the year, including Mike Jacobs, our best player. And then you look at the key losses that we had during conference play, and, we finished tied for second with FAM. But you look at the key losses that we had in conference play. Cam Ambry was out for 3 weeks, right? Malik Abou-Gawad was out for 3 weeks, almost a month, right? Damari Jones' father passes away and missed, critical home games, right? And it was just difficult. Joe Manning's been injured all year. It was difficult to be healthy, but I just wanted the guys to stick together. And that last week of the season, you kind of saw glimpses of what we could be. And, we go on the road and get 2 big wins on the road in Alabama. And then, we get to the finals of the tournament. It's not the ending that anybody in Jaguar Nation wanted, but to me, it's a sign of what we can do when we stick together. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, we had kids on campus today, right? My motivation is to try to put another group together that's built for this time of year. And that's what we're doing. And so those are my reflections. and I feel good about where we're at, and I'm excited about moving forward.
And panel, I shot Coach Johnson a text, and I kept it. And basically, what he just said was he looks forward to getting things to the point where it needs to be. Now, I kind of knew it was injuries, not to that extent, but you guess what? Everybody goes through injuries and stuff.
That's
I
right.
understand that, but you still, based on what you just said, it still was successful because a lot of people behind the scenes didn't know what was going on. I knew Alcorn State women that went through some problems. What Charles has said, injuries and people leaving the team, but you still just kind of go forward. So that's why I said I'm really pleased with the basketball program on both sides, women and men. And by the way, the women are playing behind me, so I don't want to look behind me. But the basketball programs are in good hands.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Look, Carlos, we're not making any excuses, right? Injuries are a part of the game, and we're not making any excuses. I think this team was able to achieve in spite of. Remember now, we were tied for second. We're tied for second, and we made it to the finals. And I still keep in close contact with my college coach. And the one thing he kept saying through February is, you want to be playing meaningful games in March. And boy, how more meaningful could it be than the finals of the conference, right? I mean, so we're right there where we want to be. And the challenge is, you know what? Let's do this thing again, man. Let's do it again. And that's our attitude.
Yes, we visited with Coach Kevin Johnson, men's basketball coach at Southern University. So, what are the needs going forward? Because you said something when you talked about last year and kids having choice in the portal. So we know each year, even the ones coming back, you gotta recruit them for the next year to see where they're at to make sure. What are the needs and for this men's basketball team going forward?
We got a lot of needs. We don't have as many to recruit back, when you got all those seniors and all those guys that played. But I think, and we met as a staff, after the conference tournament. I think our philosophy is gonna stay consistent, right? We're gonna be active in all realms, right? We're gonna look at a few high school kids. We're gonna look at the junior college ranks, and then we're gonna look at the portal. I mean, we're going to just try to stay involved in all three areas, and also the international route. I think it's worked so far. And, one of the things, boy, I take from Coach Pett, I hate he had to get off the air. He said, yep, you need starters. You need a leading scorer. You need a leading rebound. You need a shooter. You need to have a team that makes free throws. You need to be well coached. But there's something that he always says, boy, and it sticks with me. You need to have depth.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a team on the floor that hopefully has all those things, and try to get to that point where we're playing meaningful games in March.
Depth, Charles Edmond. You look at the Lady Jaguars, kind of similar philosophy of playing a lot of kids. To me, that's a selling point in itself. Because I know sometimes you can be selfish, but look, I want to be part of a team where I know someone got my back.
Right.
The coach is going to play everybody. To me, I like that philosophy.
Yeah. It gives you a leg up. And then you have some players, man, they want to play all the time, but very few, guys can play that many minutes for a long time. And I want to say this, of course, hats off to my coworker, my buddy, Coach Funches, on the job he did, and what a year for the Lady Jags. But I also want to take my hat off to Prairie View. And how about Prairie View had, three guys, right, down the stretch, three guys that are playing 40 minutes a game.
Yes.
Well, what is that? That tells you a little bit about the toughness and character of those guys. And, they were the best team in the tournament, and they deserve to be where they are. And, hats off to them. And then again, how about this darn league, man? Do you think we can follow it up next year and have a regular season as good or better than this one? This was a heck of a year, man. in the regular season in terms of basketball. But all of that is excitement for me, right? And can't wait to get to it.
Charles?
Yeah, Coach. Congratulations on getting it done. You talked about depth. How was your depth this season compared to 2 years ago? When we went down there, I mean, you had an A team and a B team, and that depth was successful for you. Were you as deep this past season as you were 2 years ago?
Charles, that's a very good question, man. That was the plan this year, to be that deep. But the injuries didn't allow us to do that. Every time we wanted to get a couple of groups that played well together so you could kind of keep that mojo going, it was a key injury, right? And so then we didn't have 10, we'd have 8 or 9. And so it just wouldn't let us do that this year. But, I hope that we could get back to that at some point.
Also, what you talked about with the injuries and just the issues, and our coach Jake Morton, we talked about it. We had 7.5 players.
Yeah.
That's what we finished up with. But nobody cares. And that's the brutal part about it. I mean, nobody cares that we got 7.5 or 6.5, whatever we got. You just gotta stick your nose in there and get it done. And so I'm sure circling the wagons is something that's kind of a tough thing to do, because fans see one thing, but you all, of course, seeing it from the inside.
Yeah. And look, Jake comes in this league his first year, right? And he's got a team that, we go down there to Alcorn. You were there. I spoke to you that night. He spanks us, right? And then, then beat some other people. And so Alcorn was a program that if they had depth, if they didn't have the injuries and attrition, right, they could have been right there, right? And all of this makes for a great league. I don't know if there's another league in the country that had the competitiveness and the parity that we had, man. I'm proud to be associated with this league and the caliber coaching and the caliber basketball that we play, right? I'm committed to uplifting that. I think it could get even better.
And to your point, Coach, watching some of the national broadcasts, they did bring that out about the coaching, not only on the men's side, but the women's side.
Absolutely.
So the future is bright.
Yeah.
Great coaching going on. Yeah. I would agree with that. Now the fan part of me, I got to kind of control that, because you want to win every game.
Of course.
You want to win by 40 or 50. But then the other part of me says, look, hold back. Will always says, if you're in a discussion, that's a problem.
That's it.
You didn't get first this year, and I'm not going to bring up regular season versus tournament. We've had that discussion before. Both are good. Both in this place is outstanding. So once again, I agree with you, Coach.
Yeah.
The coaching in this conference on both sides. We talked about baseball being a program that our conference could be successful in, and you still feel that way. But now you add basketball to that conversation as well.
Yep, I agree, man. I agree. What a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, I got one more question for you.
Sure.
All right, so the conversation on social media this past week has been the first 4 versus a 15 or a 14 seed. As a coach, and it seems to me now, and just taking the temperature of other coaches here in the last few years, it seems to be the first 4 is the way to go, because you're going to get a couple of units, you win that, then you're going to obviously play one of the top 4 teams in the country, as compared to being a 15 or a 14 or 13. What are your thoughts on that? Because that seems to be trending out there.
Yeah, of course, right, the units, right? That helps, right? Money. It's just like these kids with the portal, right? They want that bag. But over the history of the tournament, what the perfect, I'm all about trying to shock the world. You guys know what the perfect upset seed is? You really want to be at that 14. Mm-hmm. That 3-14, that's an upset game in the making. And when I first, got into this business coaching, there were coaches talking about it again. That 3-14 line, that 3-14 line. And so part of me, personally, would love to be able to put together a team or have a team from this league that could get to that 14, knowing that you got a legit team. You're gonna have to play well because everybody in the tournament is good, right? But boy, you could get that game and get to that 32, right? And now anything can happen, right? And so, that's a dream, but I get it. You get in that first four, you get that opportunity to win. Prairie View beat Lehigh, right? Yep, that's another unit, right? Financially, it helps us all. But the dream part of this thing is how can you get deeper in the tournament? And to me, the 3-14 game is the best way to do it.
Well said. I think we could even bring me and Willa always clash in the hard line, but I even think Willa would have to agree with that one. I guess I want my cake and eat it too. Because see, Coach Johnson talked about that competitive side. To me, and I get it, like Coach Johnson said about the extra units and stuff. But man, shock the world. Yeah. And we've seen it.
Yeah.
And we're still seeing it for Southern University. Coach Joe,
Now, when AD Banks gets back here on Monday, you know what he's gonna be talking about.
Oh, I know.
That unit.
Yes.
Got to get in that tournament next year. We need that unit, It's a two-sided coin.
But Coach Johnson, I don't know, maybe it was your first year. I did get him on, and he actually said what you're saying and what I was saying was he agreed with it, but he was also honest enough to say we're not there yet.
Yeah, right.
Now, he said that yet, meaning that's what he would like to do. And like I said, I get it, the financial piece to it all.
Take you back, though. You guys watched the tournament in 13, right? His first tournament team that played in soccer. So if that team didn't play a number one seed, if he was a 14 seed that year, he might have got to the Sweet 16 because that was a heck of a team he put on the floor that year. You see what I'm saying? And so that to me is the dream, man. That's the miracle, right? So, but anyway, that gives us room to work.
But I made a statement. I can't think of the number now, but directors of athletics, Banks, basketball background, coached. Dr. Cable, Alabama State. Charles, help me out. Who else? It was Granger at Texas Southern.
Yeah.
I said I thought that's something that helps, but now A.D. Wheeler has a background in football and basketball. They could be. I think there could be understanding about the path of what present head coach is going through because they've had to go to it. So,
well, I think when you've been a coach before, period, regardless of sport, you have an intimate understanding of what coaches go through. I know that there are certain times when I won't approach a coach because I know how they're feeling about a particular situation, or it may have been a tough game the night before, that sort of thing. And so, I know to separate myself from them, to let them kind of come back into the world, to kind of, put these things behind them and then let's go on and move forward, that sort of thing, as opposed to jumping right in them or jumping right on them or beside them right after the game's over with, that sort of thing. So, certain things that the mindset, that coaches are going through, that helps you as an administrator be able to be the best administrator that you can for that particular coach in that particular sport. So it definitely makes a difference. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, well said.
Well, that's what I say. The fan part of me, I'm not an administrator, so I speak emotional on certain things. So that leads me to the schedule. Looking forward to next year's schedule. Will it be a balance, you think? Some guarantee games. And by the way, I thought about you, Coach Johnson, when I saw California Baptist.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that good. Excuse my ignorance. And I remember you guys playing them at least the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: they have to return that game, so it's
Uh-huh.
going to be interesting to see how our schedule finishes out. We're in
Mhm.
progress on it, but we have some people that have to return to us. I mean, we have a chance to have 5 home games, right?
Mhm.
And so we got to see, how that thing balances out. Northwestern has to come back to us. Cal Baptist has to come back to us, and Southeastern has owed us a game for 2 years, and
Mhm.
we're going to have to figure out when we're going to get that in. But Cal Baptist, going back to them, right? We know they got a heck of a program. And we went out there and we were down 2 guys. Mike Jacobs missed 3 weeks during that part of the season. And we had those jokers on the ropes, but I knew they were
Mhm.
good, right? I knew
Mhm.
they were good. And it was probably the last minute and 50 of that game where, we had to foul free throws, kind of got away. But that was, that's one we, could have possibly gotten. So excited about bringing them back to Baton Rouge this coming season.
Give them that Southern hospitality and
I
uh,
want to give it to them bad, Carlos.
Creole cooking, and then tear them up on that. So I was just watching
Yeah,
them last night, and I thought about it. I said, "Oh, this is the California Baptist that um, Southern University
yeah.
had played the last couple of years."
Mhm,
Now, the non-conference games,
mhm.
as usual, those discussions comes up. But I love those state games like Northwestern
Right.
State and Southeastern. Um, do you guys still have a tough time getting some mid majors to come on? Because I know, like, if you defeat them, you don't hear back from them.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
couple of years ago, Louisiana Tech and Tulsa, you had those
right.
victories.
Right. Yeah, neither one of those wanted to, continue playing. In my first year we played Southeastern game and we had
Mhm.
another year left on that contract, and they backed us up 2 years. I mean, at some point in time you're either going to have to play the game or buy out the contract. But
Mhm.
we started a series with Northwestern, and they're due to return this coming year. But you need some of those games, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think I heard, Charles, you were talking earlier about Jake's schedule, man, and
Mhm.
not having any home games, and and bringing in $1 million. The money is good, but sometimes you can do a little too much of that, and where it comes back to bite you, this time of year, right?
Mhm.
You're late February and March. And, again, it's all about, trying to hold that together, and you want to be playing your best basketball February and March. But sometimes when you play so many of those guarantee games, man, it wears you out. I
Mhm.
give you an example. I don't think Mike Jacobs had the same pop down the stretch this year
Mhm.
as he did in the fall. And now he was still our guy, he's still our best player, but what if he's a little bit more fresh? What if we didn't go to Washington? What if we didn't go to San Jose? Maybe would he had a little bit more juice? That's the thing that I wonder about.
Mhm. And coach, and I know Wheeler knows this, being administrator. Um, are these some of the things you have in discussion with the people of influence in the athletic department, and then you guys, I guess, come to agreement on compromise on
Yeah.
the situation?
Well, the discussions they're ongoing, right? And like I
Okay.
said, we have those other games that we have to honor, right? And we'll have a chance to have a couple more home games this fall. So again, we're going to have to find that happy medium, the number
Hmm.
that's going to work that we have to bring in. But I think it's important for us to have some games at home.
Charles, the happy medium. Who has said this in our discussions?
Well,
Balance.
we will have at least one home game next year.
I'm
Oh,
so proud of y'all.
oh,
That's a
We know
big step in the right direction.
you'll never guess who the opponent's going to be. They're in the NCAA tournament. Howard. Howard will
mm.
How about that?
here.
How about that? That's big, man. Congratulations on getting that done.
We went up there this past season, so they're returning a game. But he did mention, Coach, that he wants to get at least 4 to 5 home games. And I think is that kind of the happy medium, and you play down in some of these home games. You know why?
Yep.
Sometimes it's not the situation Lanes and others to come to you to get that. What is a happy medium in terms of good non-conference quality home games?
Yeah, I think if you're in that 4 to 5 range, watch this. Look at Alabama A&M's schedule last year. I thought they had the best schedule, the best non-conference schedule in our league. But what if we had 8, 9 teams in our league that played 4 or 5 home games? I'll be honest with you. You thought our league was good this year? I think it'll be even better.
Yeah.
There you go, Wheeler. That's the number. That's the number. I'm all about balance.
That's a good number.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
And was something else I wanted to ask you, Coach Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Having a middle-aged moment here. We talked about the schedule, and we talked about the season that was. We looked at going forward. We still continue to have a discussion. They're bearing a services today for Willie Bolden, who was a Southern alum out of Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about him. I didn't know he was going through it, what he was going through from an illness standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But in the chat room, he's always talking about those bigs. I want to see Southern with those 6'8", 6'9" bigs. And then, of course, our discussion would be, I want an athletic big. So I guess it depends on what type of 6'8" guy. And then big guards. And then also the young man that you told us had a concussion. I think he signed originally with Kansas State. I saw some promise with him. Seems like to me that's the atypical guy, 6'7". Yeah. Can he play like 2 or 3 positions, or at least 2 positions?
Yeah, I think you're talking Ashton McGee.
That's him.
Yeah, what a lovable young man. He was injured a lot this year. I'm going to find out Monday. I think he may have to have shoulder surgery, but he's a talent. He's athletic. When he was healthy, he was able to develop. We played him, right? I don't mind playing, freshmen if they're ready. And his development was hindered by his health, from concussion to his shoulder. But, going back to bigs, I love the combination of bigs we had when we're healthy, right? Terrence Dixon is 6'8", 225. He was phenomenal for us this year. End up averaging in league play 11-5, right? And very athletic. He's the dunker. He's the shot blocker, right? And then our second big, Malik Abou-Gawad, was 6'10", 225. He's more of a skill, more of an offensive player. Didn't rebound and defend good enough, but 2 guys with some eyes that you had to account for, right? And then the third big we had was a freshman who's still developing in Lionel Bell. Me personally, I always want to keep at least 3 on the roster. And all those guys were Terrence is 6'8", Malik was 6'10", and Lionel's 6'10". And so we lose Malik through eligibility, and Terrence Dixon should return next year. He has indicated that he would do that, and Lionel Bell's in the program. So I need another one about 6'9", 6'10". But we're gonna have 3 bigs.
How hard is it to Coach Pettaway would always say it's kind of hard at our level to kind of get, I guess, the ones that some are talking about, that 6'10", 6'11" guy.
Right.
But I guess the trade-off is that 6'7", 6'8" guy that can, that's athletic.
Yeah. They can be effective too, right? But here's the thing for me with bigs. Number one, what are you requiring them to do, right, in the game, right? And so, I know we're not going to get a 6'11" guy in this league who can put it on the floor, shoot threes, and go behind the back and do all that stuff, right? But what are you requiring them to do? And then the second thing with bigs, and this is more important for bigs and guards, you have to be committed to their development, right? You got to work with them, and you got to improve them. And I don't mind that challenge, but with us running the offense that we run, we need a guy who has a certain level of skill, because he's going to have to do a level of ball handling. But then the next thing after that, man, I look for is motor, right? You gotta, you gotta have a motor. You gotta have some toughness. And but we work with those guys. My staff does a tremendous job. Before I hired Philip Shumpert, Rennie Bailey did a great job with the bigs, and now Philip Shumpert and Brendan Dumas work with those guys. They did a tremendous job with Terrence Dixon. Here's a guy who was at Lamar prior to coming with us, and he averaged 2 points a game and 2 rebounds, and he was one of the better bigs in the SWAC this past year. So we're glad to have him back.
Yeah, and toughness.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching from the outside in, you have that.
Yeah. So we got to stay in the game. We got to have some bigs.
Yes, sir. Regular season champs, second in the tournament. I like it, Charles. That's why I sent out text messages to those that need to know. For my vote, for my opinion, the basketball program is in the right direction, and that's the way I like it. You can't ask for anything else.
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate. I don't know if Charles and Wheeler feel the same, but Charles be rooting hard for that purple and gold. But he was, true. Oh, you made it hard on me over there this year. I think there's no love from the sideline, from the table, from the referees, from anybody.
Oh yeah. What made our year so crazy with the lack of depth that we had, we beat the number 1 team in the conference, Bethune-Cookman right on this floor. We beat Jackson State, who was playing pretty well at the time. I think y'all had that overtime game against Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, so we played well here. It was the second night of that back-to-back, that Monday night. That was the issue for us. When we had 3 or 4 days to prepare, we were good. But then you got to turn this thing around 48 hours later, and Jake Morton learning the SWAC. That was kind of an issue for us.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time, Coach Johnson. You've done an outstanding job. There's no doubt about that. You are right. You have the program right where it needs to be at this point in time.
I appreciate it.
And there's never a conversation about SWAC basketball and championship where Southern University is not in that discussion. And as long as that's taking place, that sort of thing, I don't think anybody has anything negative to say at all. The program's in good hands, that sort of thing. Like I tell Carlos and Charles all the time, I want to make sure that I keep you in the fold if I'm the athletic administrator at your university. So there would never be a time where your years on your contract would sink below 3 if it was up to me. I want to have you locked in, at least 3 years, if nothing else. And to let you know 24/7 that you're getting the job done, you're doing it the right way. Kids are graduating, that sort of thing, and that's what we hire our coaches for. And you exemplify that to the T.
Appreciate you, Wheeler. Appreciate you, man. I always enjoy getting on here talking shop with you guys, man. You guys make me feel good. The only thing that would make me feel better is if I had a game today. So, thanks for inviting me on, man. And I hate I missed Coach Pett today. I'm gonna have to call him now.
But I was watching SWAC TV last game of the season, and guess what? I saw Coach Pettaway. I think y'all met on the court.
Yeah, we did.
And I said, "Look at them, they're talking." I mean,
yeah.
And I was able to see that. What's something else? Maybe I should leave it for the next time. I was going to ask you anything as far as the coaches when y'all have your spring meetings. What are your things you're going to suggest, talk over that maybe can improve the basketball in the conference? Because I know that Charles always talks about the scheduling those women and the men on the different days, doubleheaders on Saturdays, women on Thursday. I wonder if that kind of discussion will come up, and what are some of the things you think will come up where you can improve an already good product?
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to come up. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of discussions about the format of the tournament, right? I've heard mixed emotions about some people enjoying every team being represented, some people not liking it, right? So I know that's going to come up. But I want to focus on something you said. So, coming into this year, I had some major staff changes, right? And so I had to hire three guys. Coach Bailey takes the head women's job at Centenary. Rashad Richardson, gets a job at Arkansas State, paying him a whole lot more money than I could pay him, right? And John Tavel, my other assistant, wanted to go to law school. And so we had to not only put a team together with some new guys, I had almost an entirely new staff. And so even with that, things don't just fall into place, right? You guys have to work at it together as a staff to get the desired result. And it was tough for us at times. And I think sometimes, we overlook, especially in our league, the importance of having some continuity on the staff. I love what my man Carlos Fuentes is doing, but he got the same crew year in and year out, man. They know and look, that thing is on autopilot. And so it's my goal to do that. But part of what we have to be able to do, man, is we got to continue to pay our staff, right? Continue to pay them to keep them. And so those will be some discussions that that I'm gonna have with AD Banks, and we just want to move this game forward, man. I love this league. I love where it's going, and again, we got to keep adding good players, but we got to maintain good staff when we get it.
And that is a critical point. I'll just say his name, Johnny. I talk with him all the time. We bounce stuff out. He brought that up he said the staff's different. Yeah. And I guess I didn't notice it till I came to one of the first conference home games. But then, then you start thinking about the action that's going on in the court. But he brought that up. And now that you said that. Yeah.
I mean, and I tell these guys, and sometimes they look at me like I'm crazy, but look, how good we are as a staff, where it comes out, don't you? Comes out on that court.
Yeah.
And that's how important it is for us to be able to work together and understand, what the job is moving forward. But again, my excitement is still the same at going into next year.
Yeah, because and I'll close on this. We always have discussion. You don't have to comment on it, but you know where I'm sitting at the basketball games, and I'll holler down at you, and it's so loud, then you'll see me. But boy, also that third official, me and him, and that third official on that baseline. I'm trying not to get tossed, but Coach Pettaway kind of and the panel brings me into it. They're human.
Yeah.
They're not gonna make every call, but I guess it just burns me up when I guess he can't see and he refers to the premier official out on that. But my thinking is, wow, man. And I know they go back and forth, they move, they switch out. I long for the day two officials, but I think I'm in the minority on that one, Coach Johnson.
You
Thanks for allowing me to say this.
you gave me some good advice. You told me to leave it alone, and I am.
Yeah. On that note, we enjoyed the time as always. Coach,
Thank you, guys. Wheeler, Charles, great chopping with you, Carlos. Thank you again, brother.
Yes, sir. Have a great weekend. All righty. That was interesting. I just won't let it go, Charles, with that third official. Somehow I think I'm going to get called in when I get in Birmingham.
I think Wheeler's ears peaked a little bit when he talked about paying staff and all that. I think from an administrative standpoint, I'm sure those are always interesting conversations.
Yeah, you got to find a way to keep your people now if you can. I mean, you want them to, when they leave you, that they're going into a better situation, that sort of thing. But, you don't necessarily want them to leave you because you can't pay them. Like they need to be paid. So you definitely don't want that. So there's no doubt about that.
And like I said, I get it. we debate, we have discussions about how many money games, 10 to 12. We kind of agreed that maybe meeting in the middle, you know, and you heard Coach Johnson said if all, and I know everybody's situation is different, I get it. But boy, that'll be the goal. If what's the number he said? If they had 4 or 5 home games, and somehow we got to get to that.
But you have to balance out too, Carlos. Okay, so 4 or 5 home games, right? So you're talking about, let's say for Southern's case, let's say you get a Tulane, let's say you get a Southeast Louisiana, a Nickel State, just Louisiana game.
Yeah, I don't think we've played. I don't say we, but I don't think Southern's played Nickel State on the men's side. Tulane has come,
right?
Texas A&M has come before and got their pants whipped off of them,
right? So now you're talking about playing games versus the money aspect of it. All right. So when you're playing these home and homes, you know what happens, right? More times than not, it's just a wash in terms of finances. Your guarantee is you packing your arena. That's your guarantee. So
if you winning, and you come in with a good, decent record, because these are things to shoot for. Go ahead.
Some of our fans still don't buy into playing. If a Texas A&M came to the Felton G. Clark Center, would you have 5,000 people in the stands?
I can tell you they had 7. I saw it. Not what I heard, what I saw.
Yeah.
Jerry L. Smiley, Tulane, nice crowd, and Wheeler. Remember, Southern led in attendance. Could it be better? Yes, but I can only speak for Southern fans now. I cannot believe that if Texas A&M came to FAMU, it wasn't 5,000 in that rascal.
I would like for those games, guys, to be winnable type games, if anything. I'm not really that concerned from a financial point of view when you're talking about the home non-conference schedule. If we're going to try to find a happy medium, with guarantees and non-guarantees, I want success at home. As opposed to bringing in a, extremely competitive team that may beat me at home just to try to up the gate, that sort of thing. I'm not concerned about the gate at home doing the non-conference schedule. I'm concerned about us experiencing some success, prior to getting involved in the conference schedule.
So you're talking about quad 2 games, then you're talking about maybe the McNeese's of the world.
Yeah. I was about to say that. That would be a good attendance.
Yeah.
That would be a good attendance game, because remember last year when Coach Johnson, when he left, the coach left. Oh, what was that, LSU? Oh my goodness, another middle-aged man.
Will Wade?
Yeah, Will Wade. Remember Coach Johnson said they were talking with McNeese. Now look at that setup. A Saturday, Wheeler, I think your ears will stand up. I'm thinking in the style of play, and all of that what McNeese played, and by the way, did a good job in the tournament this year. There's no reason you couldn't have 5,000 to 6,000 in that for that game. Now, what other teams in the conference could say that? Could Jackson State do it? And to your point, that would be a winnable game.
Well, Grambling, so just in terms of another reach, Grambling this year played USM at home, and Grambling beat USM.
What was the attendance?
I don't know what the attendance was, but I think that's a home and home as well, where it's just and like Wheeler said, it's not necessarily we all talk about finances. But I think what Wheeler is saying is he wants to get a quality home game, where a quad 2 game at home, where you would get some fans, but then you get more credit for the quad 2 home win if you get it at home, and that's kind of what we've been leaning towards and talking about. Trying to get that. Yeah, I'm still hung up, old school on the financial piece because we've been talking about it for 40 years, but now it seems like it's a little bit more of a shift in that. And get those games at home where you don't have to go on the road.
And see what you said, Just then, like we use the example of McNeese. You could apply that to Prairie View playing Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Tarleton State.
still, yeah, that's why I'm still against bringing in 10, 11 of those major quad games, because I understand the financial piece, but from the competitive standpoint, it's going to be tough, very tough. So again, that sweet balance, like Alex English with that shot, he scored 40 points and it was so quiet, or like the Iceman George Gervin, just so easy. You don't. But again, I could just think about Southern University, and then the type of colleges they got around the McNeese, the Nichols, the Southeastern. Well, he said Louisiana Tech don't want to play anymore. We understand that. but
Why does Tech not want to play? That's it.
Huh? Well, you know what happened?
Oh,
Southern spanked them, and they were undefeated coming into the game. ULM, Alcorn and ULM.
yeah.
So
Some schools pay a little bit. Like I guarantee you, Coach Johnson has a threshold in terms of what the price tag is to get the bus cranked up. And so I think that's not talked about. I mean, Jake Morton got a price tag. We ain't getting on the bus unless it's $75,000. Whatever that number is, every coach has got it in this conference. It's just you just don't hear them talking about it. So there's some schools that just are not willing and able to give you a $75,000, $80,000, $85,000 guarantee. It's just not going to happen. So if you shy away from that, you probably do. And so if you get a home and home, that'll help you in terms of the scheduling, like Wheeler talked about. The finance piece, you're probably, Grambling beating USM was great, from a regional standpoint. USM still got some work to do in bringing up the basketball program, but that was a great win for Grambling at the time.
And 2,347. Thank you. Behind the scenes personnel put the attendance.
And if I'm coming to you, I'm not going to pay you. If I'm coming to you, I'm not going to pay you.
No, but this was at
so
Grambling.
Forget about that.
Yeah, 2,347. I think those same teams in Baton Rouge, the attendance would be more. But again, I know Grambling's in a can I say it, a rural area? That may make a difference. It may not. I don't know. But those are type of games, yeah.
Well, Grambling has a nice arena. The Hobby Arena is really nice. It's off of I-20. It's easy access in and out. And it's not that far from Hattiesburg to Grambling. It's not that far. Probably 4 hours or so, 3.5, whatever it is. It's drivable. It's doable. And so I think that plays a part in it as well. You're not keeping your kids out of class for 2 or 3 days. I think that's a big part of some of the scheduling.
Yeah, just things to think about and talk about. We got about 5-6 minutes left in today's show. I kind of looked at my phone. I didn't want to look behind me. At one point, it was 13-0, South Carolina over Southern University. But guess what? Everybody is a realist. Well, what they've done to get to this point, they have superseded my expectations. So hats off to them for getting things done and back to back. That's hard to say. Now we look at some of those Jackson State women's basketball team. A question: did they win their play-in game? Because they were ranked a little higher. I know they had a hell of a effort against LSU.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago. But the significance of winning back to back first 4 games. Make sure I say that right. Not playing.
It's huge.
That's huge.
It is huge, and we can put the financial piece aside, but just on such a short turnaround, you got to go. Like Southern had to go to South Carolina. I mean, that's a short turnaround, and you're trying to get your team ready. You got to put the SWAC behind you and get ready for what's next. It's just like what we got going on here with the WNIT. We got to forget about our loss to UAPB last week, and this game's gonna get a lot of attention in terms of how are we gonna do in the postseason. We're at home. This game originally was scheduled for Mobile, but their facility is undergoing renovations. That's why the game is here. So I think this game gets a lot of attention. Southern obviously put the conference behind them, won that first 4 game, and yeah, they're going against South Carolina. That's a whole nother conversation. But for them to be able to pivot quickly, long travel, logistics, all that, I think it says a lot about the focus of Southern.
Let me tie it in. Now, this is a comment I'm going to say for our esteemed chat room guy, EA. Again, panel, when women's sports, baseball, track, and golf brings in no money, you have to have money games, gentlemen. We understand, EA, you have to have. Our discussion has been how much. Do you play all 10, 11, 12 in basketball? And here's my point. The fan part of me. Remember, I got 3 parts: alum, host, and the fan. It does me no. I have no pleasure in coming and see a team that's 1-12 in the conference. The excitement is down. But we're not talking about, women's sports. That is the law. So that's not going to change. You have to offer them the same opportunity. Hell, half of the men's sports don't make any money. Basically, it's what? Football and some institutions. Basketball, I know across town, which is a different beast, their baseball program makes money.
Yep.
Their women basketball team makes money.
Yep.
But we have to come to a happy medium. Yes, we've got to have guaranteed games. But the question is, what we've been discussing for years, how many? And that's the question. If we can get Willa Brown to commit to being balanced,
I've always said, Carlos, that for the women, they don't have to bring anything in. So I don't want them worrying about having to play X amount of guaranteed games on the women's side, because we know there's no money on the women's side, period. My thing is, if you're going to take the game, just make sure that it's covering expenses. Don't cost me anything. So you can play whoever it is that you want to play. My key for you on the women's side is scheduled to win. Scheduled to win, period. Don't look at, I got to bring in X amount of dollars for Mr. Brown or anything like that. No, because I know, ain't really no money in the women's game to be trying to travel and do all this that the men do, that sort of thing. No, ain't no need.
And speaking of that, Willa, quickly, I thought I saw in the future, very near future, no more playing at home on the women's side. I'll go and make sure I'm right about this. Talking about neutral sites now for basketball. I know I thought I read that and heard them talking about it. But on that note, it's 1:00. We probably could go another hour, but appreciate the panel. Charles, good luck on the broadcast. Go Braves. G-E-A-U-X, not G-O.
I do want to give a quick update. I got a follow-up text. If we do win, I think we're going to win this game. There's a possibility we still might play Tuesday. The WNIT is looking at the logistics, and if they look at the logistics closely, getting out of here tomorrow and playing Monday is going to be a tough haul. So if there's a possibility we still might be playing Tuesday as scheduled. We'll just have to see what happens. But we got to win here, though. We got to win today at 3:00.
Yeah, first things first.
As Al Davis said, just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
Just win. We'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Oh, and by the way, we had our producer back, Melanie. Glad to hear from you. A future and a swag. Give Melanie the baseline position.
Give her the Carlos Brown contract.
The third.
Yes.
The third.
Peace and God bless.